Let's just press record and see what comes out. I'm gonna try to do a reaction video to an interview that I did with Udacity about 5 years ago. I got to do this interview with Udacity with Jason, Larry, and Erendira because I went to their headquarters. They had an event where they invited the Udacity students to give them feedback about their platform and what was working for us, what was not working for us. And then so, they started asking me questions and started giving them answers. And then they thought my story was pretty cool to share. It was going all over the place, but they helped me stay, or they were producers, they're directors, they know how to get and write the story. I love this video because I think it represents very well in a very short video, in a nutshell, part of my journey. And then so I'll give you kind of a life update of 5 years ago, which is kind of like a time capsule. And that's what I'm also doing this reaction video, is a little bit of a time capsule for myself, but of course sharing with you whoever is on the other side of the screen. So let's just press play and then see what comes out.
Sacar adelante tu familia. Dices, está esta oportunidad y tenemos que tomarla.
I'm gonna tell you guys a fact. We crossed the border on Valentine's Day, and the reason why we crossed the border is because my mom got tired of having the family separated. I didn't grow up with my dad, and then so neither kind of like my brothers and sisters, so we kind of we didn't. I don't want to say that my dad abandoned us or left us behind. It's more like you gotta make some money, and then my dad coming to the United States and then my mom traveling back and forth was one of the ways that we could make ends meet, and then that's the way that they provided for us. And then so my mom got tired of doing that, and then she was like, you know what, let's go to the United States so we can have a family together. And it was in Valentine's Day. So if that's not love for trying to have a family together, I don't know what is. Yeah, I'm tearing up a little bit because this is a very, every time I watch this video, I tear up a little bit because it brings a lot of memories. And they're good memories and not so good memories. But let's keep on going.
I was 14 years old when we got here. I remember my mom also,
I was 14, and another reason why my mom decided to bring us to the United States is because I wasn't doing that well. I was already getting drunk. I was already hanging out with the wrong crowd. And I was not doing, I didn't care about school. When my mom and my dad would stay in the United States, I would stay with my grandpa and my grandma, and they did not believe in school. It was a weird relationship that they had with school because my grandpa said that, it was useless. I used to milk cows with my grandpa since I was like 5 years old. And I kind of believed him, or I stopped caring about it because it wasn't gonna do. And from my perspective back then when I was a kid, and then the people that were surrounding me, it wasn't something that was encouraged. My mom, though, always encourages to pursue a higher education, and she used to say that she'll pay for me to go to school. And I think that's one of the reasons why she gathered the courage for bringing the entire family to the United States, or for you know, for taking the risk, because it's a big risk to cross the border. It's dangerous. So yeah, that's one of the reasons, or one of the many reasons, other than trying to keep the family together. She got very disappointed that I was getting already drunk, and I was getting drunk back in Mexico, and I was just not caring for going to school anymore, and I was getting a lot of trouble with the wrong people. I want to say that if she wouldn't taken the decision of bringing us to the United States, I probably wouldn't be alive anymore. But let's keep watching and see what else comes out.
So this like big sigh that made it. We're here now. Yeah, that's a big hurdle. I had no English whatsoever. I knew how to say.
That's me in kindergarten, and that's my friend Rafa. We used to get into fights. Me and Rafa. I think he's still alive. I hope he's still alive. He was one of the smartest kids. And we always compete for who was the smartest kid in our school. When I was in middle school in Mexico, en la secundaria técnica 95. But his family was really poor, and then sometimes we would hang out together. He would tell me that he didn't have money for a torta, so because I worked my grandpa, and my grandpa used to give him money, then I'll give him some time. I'll buy him a sandwich or with soda in a bag, and it would not be every time, but like when I see him, and he would tell me, then I would try to help him out. But we would get into fights. I don't know. It was a little bit of a competition there. I don't know. But he was really smart. He'll beat me in most of the competitions that we did in exams and things like that. That's how I remember it. I don't know how he remembered it. It would be good to reconnect with him, if there is a chance in the future.
Yes, and thank you. That's about it.
I don't. This is my grandma's house. There's plants in the back. I think that's my Tío Richard in there. But we always have the seats covered because we didn't get them dirty. Let's keep on going.
And I came into the middle of 9th grade in high school. And the high school that I went to, they had a migrant program, but because at the time that I arrived, there was no way to place me, so all of my classes were in English. And then I only had one class for ESL, which is English speakers. I don't think I ever spoke English. I knew how to write it a little bit.
It's funny because when I came and they put me into high school in 9th grade, I had most of my classes were in English and I couldn't talk. But I remember specifically this friend, Alfredo. He would translate for me of how, and he kind of told me about the high school culture, where the popular kids would hang out, because everything was foreign to me. I had like a culture shock. That's something that I still to this day I don't understand some of the American values, for saying, for lack of a better term. But this friend, Alfredo, he was, I think I was in 9th grade. I think he was a junior already, and then we had a theater class together. And I liked that class because I only get to watch old movies. And then the teacher knew that I couldn't speak English. So then he would tell him to try to explain to me what I needed to do. And I didn't have to do homework. I didn't have to do things because she understood that, you know, it was theater, everybody speak English. And I felt both at the same time, kind of left out. But, you know, thankful that there was somebody in there that could tell me more or less how to navigate the high school culture back then. I did get in trouble many times. I got jumped by, you know, I went to Alisai High School, and there were a lot of, well, I wouldn't say a lot of gangs, but like there was groups of students that they were involved in gangs or street fraternities, the norteños and the sureños, and then if you pick one, then you kind of get picked on by the other one, and then so they told me about all of these things that they're not related to the educational system, but they are kind of baked or weaved into the society of the United States, I want to say. So yeah, I got jumped by the sureños and I got jumped by the norteños, and ever since then I decided, you know what, I'm not gonna pick a side. I'm just gonna stay to myself and then to other friends. So I wasn't hanging out with the popular friends. I wasn't hanging out with the norteños or the sureños. I was just kind of doing my own thing, and then I found like a group of friends that they were interested on like video games and computers, and then kind of I remember they used to make fun of me because I knew the parts of a computer and Spanish, and then they thought it was funny. But anyways, yeah, so I didn't speak English and I didn't know anything about the culture, but at the same time I was kind of like amazed because I used to watch a lot of movies, and then it looked like I was leaving or I came into a movie when I joined high school because of the lockers, because of the gangs and all of this stuff. So it is a little bit like in the movies, but I felt like I was not, because I didn't understand the culture back then. It was not my movie. Let's keep watching.
And it was at the restaurant, my parents' restaurant, where I kind of practiced some of it. Because I was helping them as a waiter, and then one of the waitresses kind of showed me, hey, this is how you ask people for stuff. You know, may I help you? May I kind of.
That's the first thing I practice when I learn English, is how to serve people or asking from people what they wanted and their plates. You know, how can I help you? The name of the ingredients of the food. I remember people asking me like, what were the ingredients? Because, you know, some people would show up to the restaurant, they have food allergies, or I don't know, some of them, they have special dietary concerns, so they ask about the ingredients. So that's the first thing I practice and learn English. And the name of the waitress back then, her name was Ceci, and she would get a lot of tips, and I was like, I want to make a lot of tips. I want to get a lot of tips. You know, I want to make some cash, because, you know, I could buy video games, or I could buy books, or I could, you know, money sometimes can bring you. I don't think money is a bad thing, but at the same time, how do you earn your money? It matters. At least that's what I think. But I mean, we'll probably make another video about that. But right now, let's just stick to this one, to the reaction video of this.
And then so I practiced a little bit at the restaurant. I was already kind of doing bad in school, so I decided to drop out of school. And so I had to get a job, and then I was like, maybe my parents are right. Maybe I need to work and labor. And then so the first thing I did is just work as a dishwasher at another restaurant. Then I left that job and I also worked.
You know what the irony is here? I work at the restaurant, I knew the ingredients, but I didn't want to learn how to cook because the job of a cook and the kitchen of a restaurant is difficult. But my mom and my dad, they're good at it. I mean, we would have parties and events where they would serve a lot of people, and it was impressive to watch them do their thing. I don't know why I'm getting emotional about this, because I learned how to cook, but then I felt like I was betraying them in a way when I started finding another job and working somewhere else, because it was I just didn't want to. I wanted to explore other areas. I wanted to explore other jobs. I wanted to explore other ways of making money. And the reason why I decided to drop out of college is because I couldn't see a future in the traditional educational system, because at that time I didn't know, before making this video, I didn't know that I had ADHD, and that I have like a form of dyslexia where I don't my comprehension of the things that I hear is different. So it takes me it takes me a lot of repetition. I need to repeat and try things and do things in different ways for me to learn things, and then so I felt always very dumb in that traditional educational system. And I told Udacity one of these things, because their videos, I could just pause it and rewatch it, and hear things from the teachers over and over again until I could learn it, and I could understand the concepts very well. So that's why I dropped out of school. But when I was working in other places, the owners, like I remember the chef telling me that like I was very good to be doing that job of doing doing dishwashers, and he tried to kind of show me the ropes on how to do management in the kitchen, but I kind of never picked it up. I actually left that job and then decided to just follow my dad's footsteps, because I was like, I need to try that out. I want to learn what struggles my dad had, and let's keep watching it, because I didn't last in that job for too long. I couldn't handle it.
That's kind of like in a laundromat, like an industrial laundromat in Michelin, where my dad at some point used to work, and I actually met some of my dad's coworkers.
You see, I'm gonna tell you right now, one of my dad's coworkers, it was a jerk, and that was one of the reasons why I also left that job. I don't know how my dad did it. I mean, he has a lot of patience and he has a big heart, but I don't know how my dad standed that person for so many years, because after the first week I had that job, they started offering me overtime because I was paid lower than this person, because he's been working for the company for many years. And I remember working on the washing machines, and then you had to type in certain type of codes, and then he gave me the wrong freaking codes. So then I kind of mess up the because we had like a counter that would keep track of our how fast, or it was green if we were just taking clothes out of the machines and putting it back in, and we needed to have a rhythm so we could finish the loads on time. And this person kind of was teaching me how to do it, but he's teaching me wrong, and he kind of threw me under the bus when he made me type in the wrong codes, and I got really, really upset, and I was almost gonna fire him, but a part of me, my internal voice, used to tell me, bro, you're gonna get into a fight, because if you hurt this person, then they're gonna call the police, and they're gonna send you back to Mexico, and then there goes all of everything that your parents worked for. Damn, I'm getting emotional again. Anyways, we'll keep on trucking.
And then that's when I realized, like, everybody's
My dad, my mom, my son Victor. Yeah.
started talking about my dad, how much of a hard worker he was. My dad worked there for, I don't know, maybe like 10 years, even more. I lasted 2 weeks, and I couldn't handle it. I had blisters in my hands, and then that's when I realized my parents have worked very hard, and that, sorry.
This part still tears me up. Yeah. And they're still working hard. They're still alive.
Nosotros venimos de una generación que el trabajo es sudor. Entonces, quizás en un momento nosotros no entendíamos que él también estaba trabajando. Pues así es como nos dimos cuenta en verdad cuando...
For my parents, because of the way they grew up, it was me sitting in front of a computer trying to learn all these things was a waste of time. And I got into fights with my dad about, I used to tell him, like, the business wasn't gonna do well. It's doing well. I was wrong in the way, but I was just trying to help him by trying to introduce what I thought it would be a newer way of doing the business. But he's old school, so he liked the pen and paper, and then when I try to give him these ideas, we would clash. And then so that was one of our, I want to say, challenges or like the disagreements that I had with my parents is the way that I work, or the way that they see and see work, and the way that we earn money or we make money. So, yeah.
Cuando él nos dijo, esto no me gusta, no lo quiero hacer y quiero estudiar esto. Entonces, pues fue cuando dijimos, hijo, pues no sabemos qué hacer porque nosotros no fuimos a la escuela. Así es que lo que sea que tengas que hacer, lo vas a tener que hacer por ti.
I didn't know where to learn, and at that point I only knew about Udacity, and then I found the Ruby nano degree. And then the reason why I wanted to learn Ruby is because I wanted to create this website to analyze data about how people were talking about immigration, because at that time it was the talk about giving, DACA. DACA is a program that helps students like myself.
This is back, 2012, 2013. When I got the work permit, that's when I got hopes of, I could change my life if I go to school, but I didn't want to go back to the traditional educational system. So I stuck with Udacity, and I wanted that website that I was trying to build on Ruby on Rails. It was analyzing, I was doing sentiment analysis on Twitter data. Now it has a different name and it's owned by a different person. And it was interesting because when I started getting information from Twitter and then trying to build this heat map of make it red where they're talking shit about immigration, because I wanted to figure out what were the places where I could go. And it will be immigrant friendly. And it so happens that back then, when I was analyzing this data, when I was trying to build this website, at the very basic level, I saw that they had all over the world were talking about immigrants. They had a certain view about immigrants. I think the France at the time popped out a lot on my heat map, and then of course the United States. But it was interesting when I was analyzing that data, when I was building the prototype. It showed that all over the world were struggling, or they still struggle of how to see immigrants. I think it's a human thing to do, to migrate, to search for. I mean, you gotta survive, you gotta eat, you gotta find a place to live. So of course people are gonna move around, but you know, everybody has their own opinions about it. I wanted to learn. I wanted to know. I wanted to see what was going on in the world, so then I could have like an idea of where to go. You know, where to work next, or where to apply these things, or to make a better informed decision. I want to say a safe, informed decision. The other reason why I started taking these courses at that time when I was working at the startup, and back in 2017, the models that they were creating, they were not available online. There was no way of exposing the API or the way of interfacing with this model through the web. So it had to be installed in a computer, and a very beefy computer that had a high-end computer to do the inference. And one of the reasons why I want to learn about web development is so I could expose this library. But I was getting overloaded with learning about AI, and then on top of that, learning about how the web works, because computers was not my first language. So it was the programming languages. There was a lot of things to learn, and I only had so many hours during the day. So I think I wanted to analyze data and expose that data. Looking back, now you have a ChatGPT or all of these AI services that offer you to the web, and it's interesting how in the last 7 years, how AI itself, and then the way we do model training has evolved, and then how it has also is being made available to the public. And you know, we're still, I don't think AI is a solution for everything, but yeah, it's interesting how the technology has evolved in the last 7 years. But this is not about AI, this is about this reaction video.
Get a social security number, a work permit, and also we're allowed to get a license, so we can travel, and then we can get a job. Udacity was important to my career because there I learned best practices, things that they do in the industry. I don't know, it opened my eyes to so many things. I'm a full stack software engineer at the Superior Court, California, in Monterey County. My job is moving these legacy systems.
So we don't do AI. Where I work, I still work in the same place, but it helped me kind of like learn the high level concepts. And then when I got hired here, I was hired as not as a web developer, a full stack software engineer. I was hired mainly because of the experience that I had with embedded devices, which it was like running Linux and shared libraries on low power devices. Because one of the goals of the startup I was working for, the artificial intelligence startup that I was working for, Iris, that is the name of the company, Iris. It was trying to put this software or this library and the inference of the library on low power devices. I think that's still the goal. I think the goal is still to bring the power consumption of AI down. It's a problem that we should probably look into. But anyways, so I got hired at the court because they wanted to build or expand their services to mobile native devices. And I was the person. I mean, the app. This app doesn't exist anymore. So if you go look at it into the App Store or the Apple Store, it's not there anymore. I saw the full cycle. I mean, there was the first. I want to say my first software engineer project that I worked on, where I saw it from being an idea, a POC, a proof of concept, to being fully released into the public. And then I got experience of how, the different, I want to say, phases of software development and the development cycle, like fixing bugs and getting customer feedback, so we can improve the software or the mobile application. And then it became legacy, like I want to say after the first 3 years, and then we had to take it down. And it was a bittersweet moment to see something that you work on from the early stages, see it be born and being, die in a way. I'm grateful for that experience. I still work at the court, and then all of I keep learning there. It has, the work environment is the reason why I stay, and I still work there. But we'll see what comes next.
Systems, and then just make them better so we can serve the public better. I love my job. I love the fact that my work has an impact in that community, and then it allows me to have time to spend with my son, and then it's not that far from home either.
So when I joined the court, well, you can see I have long hair now and a bald. The reason why I shave my head is because I don't want to pay for haircuts. They're too expensive, and then because it's also low maintenance. I was also trying to recover from burning out and at the startup grind, because I was putting a lot of work there and not a lot of pay. So when I joined the court, I had had depression, and my life was not there. Also, when let's just say that my son is a blessing, but he was unplanned. So be working at the court, it was one of the ways that I could see being able to provide for my son. And at that time, my wife, because I'm divorced now, I've been divorced for a year, a little bit more than a year, and separated for 2-3 years. She hadn't finished school, so I was already working, and then she was pregnant with my son, and that was the best thing to do, is to marry her and then kind of provide for my son, and then have the insurance kind of to do the to have the health insurance to kind of address my mental health. Go to psychiatrist, get therapy, and get medicine if I needed to, and at the same time, the hospital bills of, like, if my son gets sick, or if my my ex-wife back then, when she was pregnant, also all the checkups and things like that. So that was one of the reasons why I stay there. Another the reasons is because of the benefits, and because of the separation of concern, because after I clock out from this job, I don't have to worry about it anymore. And that's why I really love is a strong word. I mean, I've been working there for a while, so when I make this video, it was in the first, I want to say, a couple of years that I started working there, and I still like working there. But to say that I love it, I I really appreciate it, and I like the people that I work with, and yeah, to this day, I'm very grateful because it's a for the area where I live in is decent pay, and it allowed me to recover and gain back my health, and yeah, and be there for and be present for my son, and the other side is like when I got divorced, it wasn't easy, so I appreciate the 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 fact that I work with people that actually like know about me, and then saw also how I went from the change of being in medication and getting divorced, and how that affected also my performance in there. But because it's government, sometimes government doesn't it's not as fast paced as the startup world, so it allowed me to this day have be healthy, and then recover my mental health, and even after getting divorced, stay sane, because it was difficult to get over those things. So, but that's the life update there.
And then I just wanted to find a way, and I think being a software engineer gives me the the income and then the freedom to either provide for my family and then also my parents. So I hope that for my son, Victor, he can carve his own path, not his dad's path. My parents are the people that taught me that you have to work hard, and then you have to be at the same time humble. It wasn't until now that I have my son and I have my family.
So that's my two little sisters, not so little. I think they're younger than me, but they're I want to say wiser than me. So they're kind of my older sisters. My younger brother, which is not he's not my little brother because he's taller than me. My dad, my mom, and my ex-wife, and then I'm missing two of my brothers. My brother Juan Ezequiel and my brother Jose Candelario. They didn't make it to the video, but we're a big family. We used to live in a house, and there was only a room for two of us, so we always had to share things. And believe me, when we live in a crowded space, we start butting heads, and then so. Anyways, that was. Yeah.
That I could not picture myself being away from my son. I go to work for 8 hours, and I already miss them. It wasn't until then that I started putting things into perspective. And then, so it's important for me to just sort of like do the best that I can to show them that their hard work is paying off.
So yeah, there you have it. A reaction video of an interview I did with Udacity. I leave it a little bit of a time capsule, a little ranting. This is also kind of my official first long YouTube video. How long is it? I don't know. What is it, like 30, 40 minutes? But yeah, I'm still learning. I think Udacity is a great place where you can learn. I still think it's a great place to learn, and it's not a paid advertisement. I just I like the way they do things, and I think I also believe that having different ways of learning, of different modalities of learning and teaching. Like you should explore them. You should, like, there's no one way of learning one thing, and if you want to learn something, then there's always a place where you can learn. And for me, part of it, because other part of it was a lot of YouTube videos, and that's one of the reasons why I'm making these YouTube videos. So if you happen to see it, and if you're curious about my path, even with the stuttering and then maybe the rambling, then it gives you an idea how I got to where I'm at. And I mean, it's my first YouTube video. It's not gonna be my last, but this is the one that I'm using to break the ice. So if you like what you see, subscribe for what's coming. Give it a like. And if you want to learn about computer science and computer related stuff, Udacity is a great place to learn.